Good morning, afternoon and evening, my crazies. My name's Angela and I'm the Crazy Poppy Lady, and I'd like to welcome you to a getting to know me questions and answers. Now let's jump through the titles and then I'll get back to you with you and explain what's going on. Now that cheeky Darla, crafty yarn with Darla, has only gone and tagged me in the world's longest list of questions ever. I'm on 4 pages and only halfway through a video, so I'm going to do this a first half. Hopefully I've managed to get them all. I don't think I have, I might have missed a couple. But I'm going to do the best I can with the ones that I've got written in Poppy Quick Speak, which means it's not eligible to anyone else. Hold on, where are we? Find the start. There we go. No, keep going. Oh, I'm lost. I'll find it in a second and then I will start on these questions. So be warned, it's going to be long. There's bound to be some laughs and there's bound to be some moments where I just go, huh? But we'll have to wait and see. Right, so the first question up on this one is a full birth name. I'm sorry, gang. You know me as Angela Crazy Poppy Lady, and that is how I want to keep it. I don't want to be giving out my maiden name or my date of birth or any real personal details on the channel, because there's no guarantee that the person watching this video at the moment is actually one of my crazies or at all interested in crochet or anything else I've got to say, apart from nicking any personal information they can get to get their hands on any pennies I've got in my account. Okay, let me tell you now. It's zero, nada, nothing. The gas man took it all, the evil git. Okay, so that's it. No personal information for that. So the next question up is my birthday. I'm born in August. I'm a Leo, and my favourite colour is whatever one I'm hopefully using at the time. I go through phases. I used to love mint green. Can't stand it now. I used to like blue, but it's certain shades of blue. And then I can't stand red. Not that I hate it, but with the amount of poppies and balls of red that I've crocheted over the last 3 to 4 years, no. Red can go and hide in the back of the closet and never come out type thing. Okay, and next one up is who was my hero? It's got to be my dad, or my granddad. Both of them boys are worked so hard for their families. My dad's a Sparky, he's a tradie, and he used to spend 18 hours a day at work for quite a bit of it when we were little, because of course there was no basic wage back then, and we were a one wage family, so he worked his little tush off for us, but he still seemed to find the time to make time and make really cool memories, and that was the same with my granddad as well. Right, next question up is, if I could live anywhere, where would it be? Oh, come on. My regulars would know. It would be Melbourne, Australia. And that's not just because Spotty's there. No, it would be so that we could be with the Australian side of the family. But the proviso on that is that I can ship the Essex crowd over as well. And then that would just be a perfect and super cool that everybody was in the same place. My biggest fear. I'm not too good with fears and things like that. I used to be petrified, absolutely petrified of heights. Didn't like the idea of flying. But I'm one of these people where I didn't want to show my fears to my kids, so I would face them. So when it came to flying, there was no drugging mummy up and leaving her sitting in a dribbling mess in the corner and just going, she'll be all right when we land. No, I was there, and as soon as we were taking off, like before we took off, I'd have the kids' hands and we would be going, whee! We were that annoying family. Anything to make it so that it was fun for the kids. Once they were asleep, then I was a nervous wreck. But when they were awake, it was all fun and all games while we were up in the plane. And something I always wanted to do as well was flying a hot air balloon. So a few years back, my husband actually got me a hot air balloon flight. Okay, I spent most of it cowered in the corner in the basket, holding a camera over the top. I don't know where the video for that is, or even if I actually managed to press record, but I did stick my head above the basket every now and then to have a look, and it was absolutely stunning and amazing. I just had to pretend that it was an out-of-body experience rather than me in a wicker basket hung off of a balloon with heat firing up from a gas canister. Yeah, so it still freaks me out a little bit now, the thought of knowing that I did it, but I'm super proud that I did. In fact, hopefully that makes sense. Okay, the next one is the favourite family vacation. Now, as I said earlier, my parents were a one-wage family for quite a while, until I was in high school. So I'd have been about 13, 14, and my mum got a job working in a local care home for the local council. So she was working with adults with learning disabilities, and it was so much fun being there. We used to have to go in sometimes when she couldn't find anyone to look after us, if it was during the day and at a weekend. The boss was really good. He would let us run activities with the clients, so sit and do jigsaws or some colouring or something like that. Nothing with sharps, but it was something that we could help out with, really, and it entertained the clients as much as anything, so they liked us coming in as much as we liked going in. So my mum was working, and all of a sudden we felt like millionaires, because we had this second wage come in that had nowhere for it really to go. Well, not all of it to go anyway, whereas with my dad's wage it was all designated, this bill, that bill, this thing, that thing. So my mum managed to squirrel away some money each month, and it started off, she was squirreling for birthday, then she was squirreling for Christmas, and then she decided she was going to squirrel for a holiday, and she took us to Pontins. Now, for anyone that knows, Pontins is the equivalent to the holiday camp in, what's the film? You lot are shouting it at the screen at the moment, aren't you? Dirty Dancing. Right, so it's like the place of Dirty Dancing, with all that stupid activities and all the rest of it. But we went there, and for our age, it was brilliant. There was a swimming pool. I'd never been a strong swimmer, but it didn't matter, I still got pushed in. Nearly drowned, but it was still fun. We had the entertainment in the evenings, learning all the stupid dances, which to this day, yes, I still know most of them, and no, I'm not doing them on screen. But it was lovely just to have the family there all doing crazy stuff, and there was me, my brother, sister, mum and dad, and to actually have all 5 of us in the same place at the same time doing stuff was amazing, because normally dad would take one, like we would go off on dad's boat, or because he built a boat in the garden, but that's a story for another day. They normally have one-on-one time each weekend. One of us would go and do something with dad, and then the other 2 would have to do stuff with mum. It sounds horrible saying it like that, but 9 out of 10 times it was cleaning the house. So we all wanted to be on best behaviour to make sure that we went out with dad at the weekend rather than stuck at home doing chores. Okay, the next question now is, what would I change about myself if I could? I think every bit of me is me, so it would be a bit difficult to change one thing over another. So any of the big stuff, like me being dyslexic, brain dead, or an absolute crazy bonkers person, I wouldn't want to change those bits. So the only thing would be my clothes size. I would like to go down to a 10 to 12, please, so it'll cost me less in yarn and I can get projects made quicker. What makes me angry? Okay, I'm a housewife. Need I say any more? What makes me angry? Not replacing the toilet roll. Leaving crumbs on the perfectly clean kitchen side 5 minutes after it's been cleaned. Not picking up your laundry and putting it in the marked laundry bin. Not separating your laundry, just shoving it on top of the laundry bin that's got it marked. Need I say any more, really? I've got teens and a husband. They don't do nothing properly. Okay, the next question is what motivates me to work hard? That is the family. As I said, I'm a stay-at-home mum or a housewife or a stuck indoors boring person. Doesn't matter what you want to label me as, and that's me, and that's what I've been stuck with for quite a while. So it's all about family. It's making sure they're clean, tidy, and don't look like they've been pulled through a hedge backwards. It's harder now they're teenagers because they don't want to brush their hair. Okay, so what's my favourite thing about my job? Okay, it's the housewife. So the favourite thing, I think, is the memories that we get to create and the crazy moments that we do have, and how it doesn't matter when certain things happened. You only have to make a silly sound or say a certain word and it triggers a memory for the kids or the husband. One of them is clucking like a chicken. You'll have to ask me about that on the next live. Okay, the next one is what is my biggest accomplishment? Okay, that is going to have to be getting one teen past her 20s and the other one's close by. Especially considering I failed childcare at school. Okay, so the next one is a favourite book or author. Okay, so over the years there's been a couple of different ones, but I always seem to go back to Ronald Dahl. Doesn't matter that my kids have outgrown him. I like him. So it's Ronald Dahl and Terry Pratchett. Yep, they're both of them have got very warped senses of humour, and to me they are the ones that make me laugh. So yeah, they're the book sets there. So the next question is what makes me laugh? The weirdest of things, honestly, the weirdest of things. At the moment I'm sitting watching Supernatural and I'm laughing in places I know nobody else has laughed in, but there you go, it's because I'm warped. A favourite movie, ooh, used to be The Lost Boys. But I've watched that recently and I think I might have outgrown it. No! But otherwise I don't really have a favourite movie. What did I want to be when I grew up? Okay, so my dream job, I had two jobs I wanted. My dream job was to be a paramedic. Because in my head, that was a job that I needed smarts for, I needed to work to get to, knowing full well that I wouldn't have been able to do it. I knew in the back of my head I couldn't do it because, God, could you imagine it? Can you pick up so-and-so medication and give them 100 cc's or something? Which one's that? The words are similar. No, I knew I would be too dangerous for it, so that's why I never did it. But that was my goal mark. That was what I used to push myself through my GCSEs. But the job I wanted to do when we were asked to pick a job for work experience was I wanted to be a bricklayer. I wanted to build houses. I wanted to be one of the boys. But at that point in time when I was doing it, it was a little bit more sexist. And when we phoned, there was also a downturn in the building trade at the point when I needed it. So there was only 3 companies in the area that I could have worked for. The first one outright said no girls. The second one turned round and said, sorry, we have no toilet facilities for girls. To which my mum said, look, she was in Scouts, she knows how to use a bush. The bloke spat his cup of tea out and said, look, I'm sorry, I can't do it. The last one turned round and said she would put the my workers off their work, and my mum says she's flatter chested than all of the boys that you've got up on the scaffolding at the moment. And the boss was like, you what? And my mum's like, look, she looks like a lad, because at this point I had short crop hair, no figure at all. And it's like, look, she looks like one of the boys. We'll just call her Angus. And the bloke's like, no, I can't get insurance. So I got stuck working in a nursery, but not a children's nursery, one for plants and bulbs and trees. Yeah, that was fun. Not. Okay, what's the next one up? Was it? For a day? If I could, what would I do if I could do anything for a day? Most of the time I would have said sit, crochet and not have to do housework. But to be honest, for me, if I could do anything for one day and it meant that I had all the energy I needed, there was no pain or anything like that, I would want to go bat crazy with the family and just build some really cool memories on that day. Okay, I'll pay for it later, but that's what I'd want to do. Favourite game or sport? Okay. I used to love my footy. I used to support my local team. Come on, shrimps. But nowadays I'm not really a big sports fan unless it's like the Olympics or something like that, and then I'll watch it. But I don't follow team sports. Okay, so the next question I've really written down wrong. It says horse, bike or car. Let's see if I can remember what the question was. Something about riding. If I could, what would I ride? Okay, so I've gone horse riding in the past. Can't do that now. Bike also, I can't do that now. I did have a bike. I've got a fixed bike, an exercise bike, sorry, in the lounge. I'm still working my way to getting back up on that again, because I pulled a muscle when I did it last time. So for me, it's gonna have to be car all the way, because it means I can get in it and go wherever I need to. Okay, let's go and get some more questions. What would I rather do? The dishes, vacuum, mow the lawn, or clean the bathroom? I do them all, just not on the same day. So out of all of them, what would I rather do? Probably the vacuum, because I find that the funniest thing to do in my house, because I can't stand and vacuum. I have to walk around on my knees with the vacuum, and the family think it's crazy, but it means then that I'm not bending to move shoes and put them away, or moving or bending anything that shouldn't bend, because it don't like it. So yeah, hoovering would be my favourite. That's strange in itself, isn't it? Right, the next question. What one meal would I eat for the rest of my life if it was the only thing I could eat? Hopefully it would be Chinese, because at least then it doesn't even if it's what was it? I can't even think of the dish, but basically where you've got noodles, you've got veggies and you've got meats. It's got all of your food groups in. That'd be the one that I would eat. Have I ever had a nickname? Yes. Am I going to tell you? No. Do I like or dislike surprises? I don't actually like surprises. Might sound a little bit strange to you, but yeah, I'm not the best on surprises. Yeah, it's starting to make me sweat just thinking about them. Right, in the evenings, would I rather visit a relative, play a game, watch a movie, or read? All of my relatives live on the other side of the country, so it would take me 3.5 to 4 hours to get to them, so I can't do that one. Play a game, watch a movie, or read. It'd probably be a watch a movie, if you can call it watching a movie, because there'll be a crochet hook in my hand and I won't be paying any real attention to the movie at all. Would I rather holiday in Alaska or Hawaii, and why? Okay, neither one of them have I done much research on. So it's a really hard one. It can only go on gut instinct, really. One's hot, one's cold. So it would be Hawaii for hot, because of my back. But I was brought up around the beach, so to me, I suppose that'd be a more centred place for me to go just to unwind. Alaska. I know it's got some beautiful terrain and things like that, so if I had the energy to do it, I would probably go Alaska to explore, basically. And next one, would I rather win the lottery or work at the perfect job? I've had the perfect job. I loved working at my last place that I worked at, where I did my backing, but I loved working with adults with challenging behaviour and learning disabilities and mobility issues. That was my dream job. I can't do it anymore, and because of my back I'm not safe to do the job. So for me, I suppose I would have to win the lottery, but then I would probably end up opening up a care home with humongous bedrooms, so there's no issues there about the size of the clients' bedrooms, and I would have a perfect teams picked out. I would have their perfect staff. It would be fun, it would be giggles, and there'd be no real stress in the place, and then the clients, it would be home to them. Not, you've been put here, this is your home. It'll be, I am home. Okay, so it will be a really lovely environment. I'm sorry to say it like that, but care in the UK has changed quite a bit over recent years. Okay, I'm not going to go too far into that, otherwise I'll be ranting for ages. Right, okay, so the next one is, who would I want to be stranded on a desert island with? Oh, I am not saying, because hubby won't be too impressed. But yeah, it would be somebody quite fit. Right, okay, next one. Not saying that he isn't mind, but I've been stranded with him for 2 years here. No, can't do it. If money was no object, what would I do all day? I would probably go into a therapy, music therapy or an art therapy or something like that, so that I could then do fun stuff and make messes all day with people that need a bit of a giggle. How would my friends describe me? Hopefully it would be a loyal, a bat crazy, and a few other choice phrases. How would you describe me though? That's the main one. Okay, what are my hobbies? Okay, as you all know, my main hobby is crochet. I have dabbled in a couple of other crafts and things over the years, and a couple of other hobbies over the years, but crochet seems to be sticking. It ain't going nowhere, is it? I've got too much yarn to use up. Okay, what is the best gift what is the best gift I have been given? I'm not really one for things and possessions. It sounds daft, but I would rather just have a hug. It's that simple. The best things for me are hugs, and at the moment, of course, we can't do them, so I'm stuck with other stuff. What's the one thing I could not go without? Hugs. Name 2 pet peeves. Okay, coughing without covering your mouth, and picking noses and wiping the boogers somewhere that's not a tissue. I've dumped boys for that years ago. Where do I see myself in 5 years? This is a tough nut one. I know where my husband wants us to be in 5 years, but at the moment I take everything a day at a time, each day at a time, because there's no guarantee of anything. Okay, how many, sorry, that's a bit morbid, isn't it? But let's move on to the next one. How many pairs of shoes do I own? Shoes, probably 2, and then there's 2 pairs of boots and 1 pair of trainers. I'm not a big shoe collector. Don't get me wrong, I've got a couple of posh pairs up in the cupboard. They come out if and when they're needed, and they're about 15 to 20 years old, because they only come out once every blue moon, and normally it's when we're going to a function where I have to dress overly smart and put makeup on and do my hair and become girly. So these shoes go on, but within probably an hour or so of me being there, the shoes have taken off, they're hidden under the table along with the handbag, and I'm walking around in bare feet, not giving a donkey's what I look like. If I was a superhero, what power would I have? On a personal note, I'd want it to be speed. So I can get through projects quicker. But knowing my luck and the way things go, I wouldn't get speed, would I? I'd end up becoming invisible. What would I do if I won the lottery? Okay, if I won the lottery, I would be evil. I would emigrate. I would move to Australia because they would have no reason to say no to us anymore because we'd have the money to support ourselves. And it would depend on the amount. If it was almighty and massive, and yes, I would definitely emigrate. Yes, I would drag my kids kicking and screaming with me, and any family members that wanted to come as well. What else would I do? What else would I do? There would be houses purchased for family members that needed them, and things like that. I'm quite family orientated. It's family first, so definitely a family first. And then I'd open up a wool shop with no wool in it because I'm allergic to it. But yeah, it would be something along that lines, just to keep me occupied and entertained. Otherwise I would go more back crazy than I already am. What form of public transport do I prefer? Sort of bus, train and all that. I used to go absolutely everywhere by bus, train and any other form of public transport I could get my hands on, because I didn't drive, so I would happily use all of them. With the way things are at the moment, I'm happy with my car, thank you very much, but if I have to, it would be back on the bus and train I go. Right, so favourite zoo animal. Okay, I love my big cats, so my tigers, my lions and all sorts of things like that. But I also like, what's the name of it? The little fox with the really pointy ears. I can't think what it's called. I'll see if I can find a photo and pop it in now. Right, so if I could share a meal with 4 people, living or dead, who would they be? It would be me and my dad, my mum, my nan, but my mum's mum, and my granddad, being my dad's dad. Because the last 2 are no longer with us, and I know that it would be the best thing ever for my mum and dad just to get a hug, one more hug off of each of them. Right, the next question is, how many pillows do I sleep with? I've got 2 at the top of my bed, but it depends on what ailments are playing up on what night, because if I can sleep on my stomach, I have the flattest pillow going, and that just goes between my arms because I sleep like that. If I'm having to sleep on my back, on my sides, then it's 2 pillows. How long have I gone without sleep and why? Okay, well, back in my teens I worked for a security company and doing event security for a little while, and one weekend I'd done a 48-hour shift back to back, no real breaks. This was back in the time when there was no minimum wage and there was no legal requirement on how many hours work you had to do before you could have a break, so you couldn't even slap that one and go, I'm going for my break. Don't get me wrong, I got to hide behind a tree every now and then and have a cigarette, because back then I smoked, and we would hide behind the tree and eat as well, so that we still had little breaks, but nothing that were proper breaks where you could go off and sleep. So that was for an entire weekend. I think we started at something like 4 o'clock on the Friday and didn't finish till midnight on the Sunday, so it's even longer than that. That was the longest time I'd gone without sleep. Thankfully I was at the age where I could cope with that. In later years I worked night shifts when I was working in the care home, and one week I had to do 5 shifts back to back, 5 night shifts with the kids at home. No, they weren't. The kids were at school, thankfully. So I would come home, drop them off to school, come home, try to get 5 hours sleep before picking them up from school. But my lovely neighbour at the time decided that because it was her kid's birthday coming up, she was going to send all of the kids' birthday presents to our house because she was at work without asking us, didn't even know us. So the poor postman and all the delivery guys kept banging on the door, and sort of at 11 o'clock when I just hit deep sleep. So it would be, I'd just get to sleep and the doorbell would go, and it would be a delivery for her. She did end up getting a gobful in the end, and I kept saying, after 3 years, what was it, 2 years of her doing it and me saying, can you not? I put signs up on the door, and I ended up refusing delivery. But you'd think after 2 years of her doing this and her expecting me to deliver them to her house rather than her coming to collect them, you'd think she'd have at least invited me in for a cuppa, but she never did. So I was like, no, we're not friends. I'm not doing this for you anymore. Right, that was a while ago, mind. Next one. Right, so this next one is, what's the tallest building you have been in? And where was it? Okay, so knowing full well that I'm scared of heights. Okay, my gorgeous, loving Australian family decided we were going out for an outing in Melbourne, which is beautiful. The kids were little at the time. So it would have been sort of 2010-ish. Okay, this is before the flight in the hot air balloon. Okay, so we pop into Melbourne. I love the place, you know that. And they take us to Eureka Tower. Now, Eureka Tower towers over Melbourne. So I'm cheating, I'm reading this. Right, it towers over Melbourne and is the tallest building in Melbourne and the second tallest building in Australia. It was built in 2006 and the height of this building is 297.3 metres. So for some time, Eureka Towers was the tallest residential building in the world until it was surpassed in height by the HHHR Tower in Dubai. Right, so they take us there. We go up in the elevator all the way to the top, where they've got like glass windows, floor to ceiling. You can look down. My back stayed against that wall, mate, by them elevators, and I've got the kids and I'm like, I've got to let them go, and I'm like, go on, off you go, children, I'm just going to stand here with the pram so nobody nicks it. That was my valid excuse. No one's going to nick your pram, off you go. And so of course my husband's there with the kids with their hand, like holding their hands, taking them to look out over. The family did manage to get me there in the end, and saying, look, you've got to take photographs of this, Ange, because at this point I loved photography, so it was, you've got to take photographs, Ange. So I went, I took photos, I came away trying not to show the kids that mummy was petrified. Yeah, so put it like this, it was lunchtime. They'd said, should we stay here? I said, no, the prices are too high, let's go down somewhere cheaper. They looked at me and went, okay, we'll leave, because you ain't going to eat nothing up here because you'll be ill. And I'm like, yeah, you evil bunch of toe rags. Right, the next question is, which one would I choose if I had to choose one? And would it be intelligence or looks? Right, so looks fade over time, everything goes saggy and south. So it's going to have to be intelligence, really. Okay, the next one is, how often do I buy clothes? I wait for Christmas for my underwear. Like that. My mum always buys me underwear, so I wait till Christmas. I don't bother buying that. Sometimes I have to exchange it for a different size, but yeah, I wait for Christmas for me undies, and I buy it as and when I need it, but I'm one of these, I like to wear it out first, and I live mainly in jeans or leggings, so for me, with my jeans, as long as I can get my feet down the tube still, that's fine. If they split at the knee, I'll keep wearing them until they've split from one side to the other of the knee. At that point, hubby normally comes along, grabs them and goes, rip. Because he's not overly keen on ripped jeans. To be honest, I'm not, but I'd rather use them until they fall apart, unless the split's in a more strategic place. If it's the join the two legs together seam, forget it, it goes in the bin straight away. So when did I last buy Clothing would have been for myself about 1.5 years ago. Yeah. As I said, I live in it till it wears out. That's why you've seen this top every day for the last 3 years. Next question up is, have I ever had a secret admirer? Well, I never got Valentine's Day cards at school, so I'd say no, thankfully, because that would have freaked me out. My favourite holiday season, okay, when the kids were younger, I should have really said Christmas, shouldn't I? But I love Halloween. I like scaring people. It's the only day. It's the only time of the year where I can be evil without being evil. And it's fun and games, isn't it? And we only scare the adults. The kids normally laugh at the parents then. Okay, what's the most daring thing I've done? I've got to keep it clean, haven't I? Daring thing I've done. Well, I used to be in the scouting movement, so I've done quite a lot of things that other people would see as a bit scary or a bit daring and stuff like that. So on a personal front, it would have been jumping in that hot air balloon, and then getting out of it in one piece. Otherwise, any other naughty daring stuff I'm not mentioning on the channel. I'm a good girl. Okay, the last thing I recorded on TV. Okay, that would have been quite a while ago, because our Skybox, although it would record, it wouldn't connect. So half the time the connection would fall, so it wasn't worth recording anything. But I remember seeing it bounce up saying, you are now recording Spider-Man, you are now recording Superman, you are now recording Superwoman. Basically any of the sci-fi ones that were on one of the Sky channels, and they were the ones that we were recording at the time, but we could never actually watch them because, as I said, you wouldn't get a full recording, so it was pointless. Okay, and next thing, that's why we've changed our supplier now as well. The last book I read, does a crochet magazine count? I hope so. Otherwise, it's going to be a crochet book, and I still haven't read any of them cover to cover yet. Favourite foreign food? Okay, I would say I do like Chinese food, but it's made here in the UK for English palate, so I don't actually know what a proper Chinese tastes like yet, so until I've been over there I can't say. I think the Aussie burger with the egg on top, super cool. That's another nice one. There's a pizza as well over in Australia. It's got everything on it, including an egg. One of the girls will put in the comments down below what it's actually called. That's nice. Am I a clean or a messy person? I would like to say I'm a clean person. Everything is cleaned, but the place is always messy. It sounds daft. Like in the kitchen, everything has its place. It stays in that place for about half an hour after I've cleaned the room. Then it looks like a tornado's gone off in there. So within about 15 minutes, half an hour, or depending on if the family are up. So yeah, the place is always messy, but it's clean. That's the easier way. Who would I want to play me in a movie of my life? Oh my word. That is a hard one, but the bird that played Natasha Yar in Star Trek, haven't got a Scooby's what her name is. Can't remember it now, or the actress's name I should say. If I can find a picture of her, I'll put it up here. At one point when I was younger, I dated a lad who was addicted to Star Trek, and I had a short bob cut hair and he swore blind I was her double. Right, so how long does it take for me to get ready in the morning? If it's a school day, it's up, wake up and do some physio, which is about 5 to 10 minutes, just enough so that I can crawl out of bed. Jump in the shower, warms up the muscles, means I can move more. Get dressed, go downstairs, go ugh to the eldest, to the youngest, who plants a cup of coffee in my hand. That girl is trained. No, we've told her that if she doesn't make her duty driver, whoever's driving her into school in the morning, whoever's her duty driver needs to be made a cup of coffee in the morning, or they can't drive her to school. So now every morning she shouts out, which one of you's giving me a lift, and we have to tell her who's giving the lift, and then we get, whoever it is gets that cup of coffee. So you walk down, you go, ugh. She goes, coffee? You go, thank you. Sit down, drink it, and then I'm out the door. So if it's a normal Monday to Friday, I'm up and out the door in 45 minutes. I don't bother with makeup. The hair gets tied back. It's just a case of having a shower and bunging on clean clothes, isn't it? So that leads on quite nicely onto what kitchen appliance do I use daily? None of them, because the kid makes me first coffee of the morning, and 9 out of 10 times I don't have another one. Fridge. There we go. I thought of something. It's the fridge. I open the door to see what I'm having for lunch. That's about it, because we're quite good in this house. We rotate the jobs. So sometimes I cook, sometimes I'm not cooking. Yes, I do all the cleaning, or the majority of it, depending on how good or bad my back is. But as far as using an appliance every day, nope. The washing gets done probably 2 to 3 times a week. And as I said, we take it in turns to make the brews. So, yeah. Next question. What's my favourite fast food chain? I am not promoting fast food chains on this channel. Okay. Do I love or hate roller coasters? Oh, okay. So I would actually say I love them, because it gives me quiet time when we go to places with roller coasters, and I can sit down and crochet, because of course I can't go on them because of the slip disc in my back and neck. So I love I love roller coasters, and no queuing, no going on them. No, I used to go on roller coasters, and I used to go on some of the big ones. I loved them, but as I said, since I've done my neck and my back in, no chance, not at all anymore. And favourite child, do I have a favourite childhood memory? I'm really strange actually, because of the dyslexia, my long-term memory is immense. I can trace back, and I can pick up memories, and I've spoken to family where they've said, you was only 3 when that happened, how do you remember it? It's not something that they've spoken about, or it's not a story that we've repeated to you. How do you know it? And I'm like, I just remember it. And so there was one memory I had where it was my old best friend's bedroom, and I managed to draw a floor plan of her bedroom. I was 35ish at the time when I drew the floor plan to prove it was me when we finally met up with each other again. And the last time I'd stepped in her room I was 7. Another memory, of course, is a granddad and going down and annoying him with his cactuses. He used to try and hide in there. I would always find him. Yeah, so there was all these other memories as well from way back when. Okay, and next one. The craziest thing I've done in the name of love. Okay, pack my entire home up, my entire life up, and my daughter, and marry a soldier. There we go. Craziest thing for love. I must have loved him to do that. Because I tell you what, I didn't like the moving around much. Okay, so the next one is, what 3 things would I take to a desert island? Okay, so some of you would be going, oh, crochet hooks and yarn. No, not going to do that. I would take an axe. I would take, no, I won't need a sharpening stone because I'll have to find that. An axe. Yeah, I think that's about it. Because with an axe, I can make myself somewhere to live by cutting down some trees. And I can make my own yarn using the animal carcasses that I will find. Okay, I'm allergic to wool, but hopefully I won't be allergic to other things. Hadn't thought that through, had I? But no, I'll be able to make hemp and other things from the different plants that are there on the island, and I can always whittle myself my own hook. I've never done it before, but I'll have plenty of time to practice. Okay, my next question is, what was my favourite subject in school? Okay, so for me, school was a tough nut one. Because of the dyslexia, I could read, but I couldn't retain, and that was my main issue. So because of that, I found maths the easiest subject, especially A-level algebra at the age of 13. Don't ask me to do it now. I cannot remember how I did it. But I did amazingly in maths, and I was very, very good at it, and not blowing my own trumpet, but as I said, it was the only subject I understood. So of course I was going to put the most amount of effort into that subject. But the grade I got at the end wasn't so good because the exam was written in English. If they'd have just put the sums on the page instead of all that stupid English, let's split it down and explain it this way, that way and the other, like Susie's got 5 apples, I didn't need that. I just needed the number. Why couldn't they make it simpler? But yeah, so for me, English was the subject that I spent the most time on, and the one I enjoyed the most because it was quite grim was of course history, especially ancient Egypt. So the next question is, what unusual things have I eaten? Okay, so in the UK we're quite bland and quite boring the majority of the time. I thought I was doing well when I admitted that I'd eaten Bambi. But actually nowadays I've not only eaten Bambi, I've eaten a crocodile, kangaroo, locusts, and a couple of other things that were dipped in chocolate. Everything tastes nice if it's dipped in chocolate. Yeah, so I do like to try some weird and wonderful things, but I will never be eating eyeballs. That's the one thing I can't do. You just can't do it. No eyeballs. Okay, so do I collect anything? Excluding the yarn, of course. Yes, I do. I collect shot glasses. Now, I'm not really a drinker. So you might find this a bit strange, and it's only ones I purchase, not ones I've asked people to not send them to me and not give them to me. One, I haven't got the room, and two, they are memory jolts for me. They're not so personally for me, each one of my glasses I can tell you what holiday it was, what year it was, and where I got it from. If I can't do that on a wine glass, it has no meaning. Not wine glass, sorry, shot glass. It has no meaning to me because I couldn't make that memory of purchasing. It sounds strange, but that's just the way my brain is. So yeah, I've got shot glasses. I've got quite a few. I can't even get to them to show you them because they're in a cupboard. I'm looking at them at the moment. They're in a cupboard over there. They fill an entire shelf up. And there's lots of different ones, but as I said, it's only ones that I've purchased. Right, so now it's time for me to stitch up some fellow creators. Right, so I am going to be tagging a couple of people today. My first one out is actually a Crafty Musera. Now, you will have seen quite a lot of her crocheted squares over the last 12 weeks because she's joining in on a stitch a week. Now, her channel is quite new, so pop over and have a nose. She is as bat crazy as me. She really is. I think she's lovely. Now, she's been supporting this channel for ages and ages and ages. I can't even remember how far back, Sarah. I might have to go and have a nose. But yep, Sarah, you are stitched up. I can't wait to see what your answers are going to be. And of course, I can't stitch one up without stitching up another one of my crazies. So he's gonna have to do it. I'm just gonna have to do it and be an absolute cowbag. Catherine, you're tagged, girl. So that is our gorgeous Catherine at Kath's Eye Catchers. Okay, so keep an eye out for her video coming up soon. Loves you, honey. You're not gonna love me no more now. And the last crazy I am stitching up with this list is our Sabrina Melody. So congratulations, honey, you're tagged. Now all of the girls, their channels are linked in the description box and down below, so go and have a nose if you haven't come across them before. I think you probably have, mind. Right, that is it for me for today. I will see you all really soon, so if you can, please stay in and definitely stay safe. Ta-ra for now, everybody. And for anybody else interested, the next few minutes I am going to be popping all the questions up on screen. I may have missed some of them, so I'm just going to literally copy and paste them off of an email that I've received and pop them up now. Ta-ra everybody!